start, but everybody giving each other just about enough room as they propel themselves down the defending straight for their time through Brooklyn Nelson into the pack. Cars as well this weekend in the entry list. As we look towards Murray's, it all gets rather tight there. Tom Holbrook going wheel to wheel with the 65 car, which is Chris Mills for this first part of the race. They've got the Seat and Super Cobra, I think, isn't it, which was Giles Kirk right with them as well as they flashed their way over the start-finish line. So that was really close stuff between all of those, but they've all managed to hang on to it. And there is a little Ginetta G40. We've not mentioned the Ginetta yet, really, either. Nice to see the G40 out there. There is a separate one-make series for Ginetta G40s, the GT5 Challenge G40 Cup, as it's known, which largely supports the Intelligent Money British GT Championship, but nice to see a few G40s coming into New Millennium as well. Quick little cars, actually, with their Ford C-Tech engines. So, through the Wilson hairpin go the mid-pack. The race leaders starting to stretch away. Daniel Peters was leading by just over a second at the end of the first lap of the race from Mark Smith, who had got the best part of 3.5 seconds in hand between himself and the third place car of Michael Vituli. So the front runners were a little bit spread out in terms of qualifying pace as well, and that's sort of coming through into the race as well. But you can see just how busy it is in the mid-pack as well. For those that are going through Agostini and up towards Oggies at the moment, you've got cars sort of nose to tail. It's a bit like the M25 on a Friday afternoon, really. There is Martin Addison in his new Aston Martin, coming under pressure from the number 10 car of Simon Baker that sits behind the little 1 Series. Pit lane already with problems, I'm afraid to say, is that Ginetta G40. So that's a problem early doors towards Stephen Davis. Back nine to the pit lane. Irvine scheduled to take over in part 2 of the race. But the question is, going to get the opportunity such a good problem is. 29 to the ground, long time being the racer just working his way through. Rundle and Nelson, European moves ahead of him. Martin Web's dark blue BMW behind. I think the best of the fight at the moment is probably 6th backwards. Car number 61, Tom Holbrook, is at the head of a train, really, that's about to head over the start-finish line any second. So, Tom Holbrook, well, you could argue David Trigg ahead of him, really, as well. So, David Trigg in the Lotus, and then Tom Holbrook and Chris Mills and Giles Kirk, Hugh Gurney, Martin Addison, they're all together as they fight over 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and almost 10th places. So that's a really good little fight that's going on. This is the front end of it, so this is David Trigg, just coming up towards the Wilson hairpin. Tom Holbrook, Chris Mills, then the Seat and Super Cobra, which is Giles Kirk, all absolutely together, round through Palmer. And then just after Giles Kirk, we then see the next of the BMWs, which is the light green one. That will be Hugh Gurney. Martin Addison's Aston Martin is just off the back of that, and Martin Addison's Aston Martin is also coming under pressure from John Baker's BMW 1 Series behind. Now there's a change of position. Giles Kirk at the wheel of the Seat and Super Cobra, up the inside of Chris Milnes in the works liveried number 65 BMW. That was going in towards Agostini, so that puts the Super Cobra up and now into 7th position. The number 65 Beamer drops down into 8th place, and for Giles Kirk, I don't think he wants it to stop there either, because he's now looking to try and attack the next car ahead, which is the black BMW 36 of Tom Holbrook. Daniel Peters continuing to lead all of the time. Last time through, he did set the new fastest lap of the race. And the Ginetta's made it back out as well. It was braking issues for the Ginetta. The brakes haven't been quite bedded in as they needed them to be, so they think that they've established what the problem is. Ginetta G40 made it back out on the track, which is good to see. That fantastic battle I'm talking about just coming out of Murray's at the moment. It's displaying as 26, but on the timing screen it's showing as 126. The front of that queue is 5th place David Trigg, so it's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So 8 cars, all absolutely nose to tail, heading round through Ritchie's. And David Trigg doing a good job of hanging on to it. He lies second in his class at the moment, David Trigg. Martin Aston trying to sneak up the inside of Brian Branson's orange E46 M3, but nothing doing for the Aston Martin. So Brian Branson still, I think, looking to try and hang on to the place. In fact, he didn't make it through there, actually. Addison was behind him there on that shot, so Brian Branson, yeah, he has indeed made it through. So Brian Branson gains 11th position. Can he hoist himself inside the top 10 would be the next question. The next car that he needs to get past will be Hugh Gurney, because Hugh Gurney started his lap in 9th. He is now down into 10th, because another car's now making progress, which is John Baker. So John Baker is also try and gain a few more places at the wheel of his 1 Series. He just seems to be gaining a little bit more. Side by side, this is Hugh Gurney now, coming under pressure from Brian Branson. 2 E46s going together down the Bentley Straight. And I think Hugh Gurney, is he just about going to keep his nose out? No, he's going to lose out. Brian Branson wants to go into Loughton. So started his lap in 12. I think he's going to be knocking on the door of the top 10 now. I think he's inside the top 10. Ahead, may well be the front wheel drive. Giles Kirk driven sadly in Super Copa, so hard is he trying. As they all flash their way over the start of the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Within a second of each other. But out front, Daniel Petters, we haven't seen much of him. He is leading comfortably now, 5.5 seconds to the good. Whilst down in 5th position, number 44, David Trigg, at the wheel of his Lotus V6 Cup car that's built to GT4 specification, is still under pressure from Tom Holbrook's BMW E36 M3. A very well sorted car is that AMP-Speed prepared E46 M3 of Tom Holbrook. So that fight for 5th and 6th is still continuing. And another car, I think, that might, if it can get a bit of a hurry up, he might be able to join in the fun here, because we've got that huge squabble from 5th through to 12th, but in 13th place and gaining positions, or gaining time over those ahead, is the grey BMW, number 14, Jasper Safra. So an eye towards the 13th place car, because that grey BMW may well catch up with the pack ahead before too much longer. 30 minutes of the race to go, so the pit window will be opening in a matter of seconds now, and the cars will be able to dive to the pit lane. Black and white warning flag also going out. That's Paul Bolton in the Nissan that's been showing the black and white warning flag. I would imagine transgressing the circuit limits. Nice to see the work that was done on the Ginetta G40 really has worked. Steve Davies is still out there and circulating at the moment. So he's reserved by the opportunity to take over that car in the pit stops, for which I think the pit window is now open as well. So, yeah, 29.5 minutes there or thereabouts with the race remaining, so pit window is now open. You get a grid drop from where you qualify. In the case of the new Millennium, the overall winner receives an extra 20 seconds in the pits for the next race. Second place receives an extra 15, and third receives an extra 10. But some of the other series, you have yourself a 30-second penalty for the rest of the season. So it does vary on from series to series as to what the difficulties and problems are that you have to try and deal with come the pit window. Now into the pit lane, now that was John Dixon. Now John had a spin early on in the race, but his Lotus seemed to ease off way before pit lane entry, which I thought was a little bit unusual. John's hugely experienced. He wouldn't have done that had there not been a problem with the car. And the ex-British GT Lotus comes to a halt at the top of the pit lane. I think he's the first of the pit stoppers. He won't be the only pit stopper coming in, because I think the pit lane will slowly fill up, which is a shame really, because this fantastic battle that we've got that's been going on is going to get interrupted slightly. Here's our race leader. We've not seen much of him. Daniel Petters leads, and there in the background, here, down the Bentley Straight, is the BMW of Mark Smith, number 36. So the gap between the pair of them is around about 6.3 seconds at the moment. Daniel Petters doing a really good job of carrying through that pace that he saw in qualifying into the race. So it's the blue and day-glow yellow Porsche that leads over the number 36 largely white BMW with maybe a silver and pink flashes to it in the hands of long-time BMW racer Mark Smith. In the pit lane is indeed John Dixon. Motor Company, who've long been associated with British sports car brands, whether it be Lotus or in particular also Aston Martin as well, Stratton Motor Company. That car sounds fantastic as well. There's John Dixon's driver who is far used to racing things with V8 American engines in, whether it be, as you can see on the badge of the arm there, Corvettes and things, but in particular I associate it with AC Cobra replicas and things like that, John Dixon. Swallows continuing out on circuit. There's number 91 Hugh Gurney, still involved with that fight. The orange car Brian Branson just ahead of him. Over the grass, that is Alex Haynes, who is looking to try and recover. He's made a bit of a mistake going round through Coram. Now is that smoke coming from the bottom of his BMW? It looks like it is, you know, so may well have been a problem for Alex Haynes, but I think he's slowly bumbling the car back onto the tarmac, and as he accelerates away, I don't think there was any smoke as he accelerated, so it's probably just a moment round through Coram when he called. We just sort of got back end of it. So with Daniel Petters, I think, having come into the pit lane on that lap, that's going to hand the lead of the race to Mark Smith now. So the number 36 BMW leading the way, and up to second now will come the light blue E36 M3 of Barry O'Neill, who is the best part of 20 seconds adrift of new race leader Mark Smith. Third is going to be number 61 Tom Holbrook. The BMW 1 Series of Simon Baker will be up to fourth. Chris Mills in almost a works liveried BMW will be up to fifth. And sixth at the moment will be the Southern Super Copa of Giles Clark. So that will be the top six the way things currently stand. That's the seventh will be Brian Branson's orange BMW. The light green Beaver over the Hugh Gurney will be eight. Jasper Sambra's blue, now grey BMW will be nine. And Andrew Rath, I think, will complete the top 10 actually, the way things currently are. At the wheel of his 78 car, so that gives you the top 10 with 25 minutes of the race still to go. That's Martin Addison that's in the pit lane currently. The Addison plant-backed Aston Martin car that they picked up. They wanted a change from the Peugeot that's been competing in the tin tops for the last few years, and this car came up at the right money. It had not been raced for a good period of time, and came up at the right money at a dealership that was just round the road from them. So his father Bill picked it up, and Martin, I was talking to him yesterday, very much looking forward to getting out and behind the wheel of this V8 monster. Into the pit lane also comes Simon Baker at the wheel of car number 10, the BMW 1 Series. And whether it's the same Daniel Petters, our erstwhile race leader, back out on track at the moment. Of course, he has lost the lead of the race with having to dive into the pit lane and conduct his mandatory pit stop, but of course he's got that out of the way now, so he can crack on, and he will slowly pick his way back through the order as everybody else at some point has to come into the pit lane. And now that at some point is within the next 9 minutes, because that's when the pit window will close, and after that all pit stops will have to have been conducted. If you're in the middle of conducting your pit stop, that's fine, but you can't come in once the pit window is closed, and therefore sometimes some drivers do just cut it really, really finely, and they're very happy when they cut it finely and they're the right side of the line. But if you pit a second after the pit window is closed, then I'm sorry, you've pitted outside of the pit window. It doesn't matter whether it's a second after it's closed or 10 minutes after it's closed. If it's closed, it's closed. It's as simple as that. It is quite a long pit window, 15 minutes, which say somewhere like Donington Park or maybe Brantatch. So it is sensible to have a longer window, because it means you're arguably going to have less cars coming in at any one point, and that makes it safer not just for the drivers but for the mechanics and anybody else that's in the pit lane as well. Simon Baker is still waiting patiently in the pit lane before he had to back out onto track. Mark Smith, our race leader, now leads by almost 30 seconds, so 27.5 seconds is the lead advantage currently, but Mark Smith hasn't pitted, neither has in second place Tom Holbrook, or Chris Mills in third place, or Hugh Gurney in fourth, or Jasper Sapper in fifth. They're all in the same class as well, all of those cars. The first car that's in a different class is number 78, which is over the road. Which is a 3.2 litre car, and then the only car inside, well, there's only two cars inside the top 10 that aren't in that class. One is in 8th position, which is car number 78, which is Andrew Rapp with his Lotus Europa. That sits in class B, and then has an engine capacity of 2 litres, but it's turbocharged, so it goes up a class or so. And then the other car is number 13, which is Tom Webb. Martin Webb, and that runs in class M2, so that is, again, it's a lightly modified BMW, so it's not been modified to the same degree as all of those that are at the sharp end. So we've got 6.5 minutes of the pit window still remaining open. Into the pits comes the Ginetta, this time through the G40, so hopefully this is not further trouble for Stephen Davies. This is the scheduled pit stop, almost at the halfway point of the race, where he'll hand the car over to Ross Irvine. Out on track though, the squabbles still continuing round through the bomb hole at the moment. We've got Giles Kirk and Will Supercopa right on the tailpipes of Jasper Sapper's BMW, and behind them is Barry O'Neill by the look of things, so Barry's lost a bit of time in the pits, I would have thought there. Maybe not quite as efficient pit stop as some of the others. This is light blue BMW. It's now behind a raft of cars that were behind him before the pit stop window opened, so it must have been a slower stop for him. Can't think of anything else. See anything out on track suggests that's been the problem. Now, David Trigg was under a raft of pressure before the pit stop started. He's under a raft of pressure now because Hugh Gurney and his BMW diving on the inside going into the woods there, and having to make it through as well. By the look of things, Hugh Gurney hasn't pitted, so he needs to crack on here still, so he can't afford to be held up by the car that's currently running in 14th position. Make sure that he can just keep pushing as hard as he possibly can. So, Hugh Gurney past David Trigg. Now, once Hugh pits, odds are that Lotus and that BMW will be roughly in about the same part of the track, I would have thought. Now, there was one car that came into the pit lane that was right at the sharp end, but it hasn't gone back out, and again, Chris Buxton may be able to shed some light on it at some point, but Michael Vituli, who qualified 4th quickest and was running 3rd in this race, I'm afraid to say, is no longer able to take part. His car is pit lane and is looking at a very sorry sight indeed, but we'll hopefully be able to bring some news of that shortly. So, lead advantage, Mark Smith leading by 28.4 seconds, still hasn't pitted. 4.5 minutes of the race, 4.5 minutes of the pit window still to go. Jasper Sandra, Dave Griffin, and many others as well. So lots of pit stops still to cycle through, but let's take it back down into the pit lane and try and find out what's happened to Michael.
and gunning to be the top BMW when it's used.
Absolutely.
Where else would we expect to find you? Thank you very much, Michael Vituli, for your time. It's a shame to see you in the pit lane so early in the race. Even the greatest can be hit with bugs and troubles, but we throw it back up to Mark Merrill in the commentary box.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, so nice to hear from Michael Vituli, albeit under all the wrong circumstances, I'm afraid to say. So let's hope that the remainder of his season is a little more successful than the opening one. So race continuing, and we will pick up on what's going on. We have seen another couple of cars just dive into the pit lane whilst we were chatting.